My stepmother accused me of stealing her diamond necklace, but when the truth came out, her face was worth looking at. I, a 19-year-old girl, never thought I'd be posting here, but I'm at my wit's end and need some outside perspective. This whole situation has me questioning everything, and I just don't know what to do anymore. For some background, my parents divorced when I was 12. It wasn't a messy split or anything, they just grew apart. My dad remarried 2 years ago to Sarah, who is 38 years old. At first, things were okay between us. We weren't best friends or anything, but we were civil. That all changed a few days ago. Last week was Sarah's birthday. My dad, being the generous guy he is, bought her this really expensive diamond necklace. I'm talking seriously fancy, it probably cost more than my car. Sarah was over the moon about it, showing it off to everyone who'd look. The drama started 2 days after her birthday. I was at their house, just hanging out and doing some laundry because my apartment's washer is broken. Sarah came storming into the living room, face red and eyes wild. She started yelling at me, asking where her necklace was. I was completely confused and told her I had no idea what she was talking about. She didn't believe me, she kept insisting that I must have taken it, that I was jealous of her and wanted the necklace for myself. I tried to stay calm and told her again that I hadn't touched her necklace, let alone stolen it, but she wouldn't listen. My dad came home in the middle of this and tried to calm things down. He asked Sarah to explain what was going on, and she told him that her necklace was missing from their bedroom. She said she'd last seen it that morning before going to work, and now it was gone. And apparently, I was the only one who'd been in the house all day. I told my dad that I hadn't even been in their bedroom, I'd just been in the living room and doing laundry in the basement. But Sarah kept insisting that I must have taken it. She said things like who else could it be? And she's always been jealous of me. That last part really hurt. I've never been jealous of Sarah. Sure, we're not super close, but I've always tried to be respectful of her relationship with my dad. I even got her a nice birthday gift, nothing as fancy as the necklace, but it was thoughtful. My dad tried to mediate, but he was clearly torn. He didn't want to accuse me, but he also couldn't ignore his wife's certainty. He asked me if I was sure I hadn't seen the necklace or moved it by accident. I told him I was absolutely certain. Sarah then demanded that I empty my pockets and show them my bag. I was so shocked and hurt that they'd even consider this, but I did it just to prove my innocence. Of course, there was nothing there. This wasn't enough for Sarah. She insisted that I must have hidden it somewhere in the house or taken it to my apartment. She wanted to search my car and my apartment. At this point, I was holding back tears. I couldn't believe this was happening. My dad, to his credit, said that was going too far. He told Sarah they needed to calm down and think about this rationally. But Sarah was having none of it. She kept accusing me, saying things like you've never accepted me as part of this family, and you're trying to sabotage our marriage. I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed my stuff and left, telling them to call me when they found the necklace. As I was leaving, I heard Sarah tell my dad that if he didn't do something about this, she'd call the police and report me for theft. I drove home in tears, feeling betrayed and hurt. I've always had a good relationship with my dad and thought things were okay with Sarah. Now I feel like I'm being treated like a criminal in my own family. The next day, my dad called. He apologized for how things had escalated but asked if I was absolutely sure I hadn't taken the necklace. He said he believed me, but he had to ask. I told him again that I hadn't touched it and that I was hurt that they'd even consider this. He sighed and said he'd talk to Sarah again and try to calm her down. I agreed, but I was still upset. Over the next few days, things just got worse. Sarah started posting on social media about how someone had stolen her birthday gift, heavily implying it was me without actually naming me. Some of our mutual family friends started messaging me, asking what was going on. I didn't know what to say. I didn't want to badmouth Sarah, but I also didn't want people thinking I was a thief. I just told them there had been a misunderstanding and that hopefully, it would be resolved soon. My mom got wind of what was happening and was furious. She wanted to confront Sarah and my dad, but I begged her not to. I was afraid it would just make things worse. A week has passed now, and the necklace still hasn't turned up. Sarah is still convinced I took it. She's now refusing to have me in their house and has told my dad that he needs to choose between us. My dad is stuck in the middle. He says he believes me, but he also doesn't think Sarah is lying about the necklace being missing. He suggested that maybe I took it by accident or moved it without realizing. I know he's trying to find a solution that doesn't involve either his wife or daughter being a liar, but it's still hurtful. I've racked my brain trying to think if there's any way I could have moved the necklace without realizing it, but I know I didn't. I wasn't even in their bedroom that day. I've suggested that maybe it was misplaced or that someone else could have taken it, but Sarah is adamant that it was in her jewelry box that morning and that I'm the only one who could have accessed it. The whole situation is tearing me apart. I feel like I'm losing my family over something I didn't do. I can't sleep, I can't focus on my studies, and I'm constantly anxious about what's going to happen next. I've thought about just buying a replacement necklace to end this whole thing, but I know that would be seen as an admission of guilt. Plus, I couldn't afford something like that anyway. My friends have been supportive, telling me to stand my ground and not let Sarah bully me, but they don't understand how hard it is to have your family doubt you like this. The worst part is I feel like this has permanently damaged my relationship with my dad. He says he believes me, but I can tell he has doubts. And every time he asks me to just think really hard about whether I might have moved the necklace, it feels like another little betrayal. I've always been close to my dad, even after the divorce. He was the one who taught me to always tell the truth, to stand up for what's right, and now it feels like he's questioning everything he knows about me. As for Sarah, I don't know if our relationship can ever recover from this. Even if the necklace turns up tomorrow, the fact that she was so quick to accuse me and so unwilling to consider any other possibility has shown me how she really feels about me. Part of me wants to just walk away from the whole situation, to tell my dad that I'm done, that I can't be around people who think I'm capable of something like this. But I know that would only make me look guilty, and I don't want to lose my relationship with my dad. I feel stuck. If I keep trying to defend myself, I look defensive. If I stop engaging, I look guilty. There's no winning move here. I've started to fear my phone ringing, afraid it'll be my dad with more questions or Sarah with more accusations. I've stopped going to family gatherings because I can't stand the whispers and side glances. My mom keeps telling me to stand up for myself more forcefully, to demand an apology from Sarah, but I'm afraid that being more aggressive will just make things worse. I don't want to force my dad to choose sides more than he already has to. I've even had nightmares about the necklace. In my dreams, I find it in my pocket or in my room, even though I know it's not possible. I wake up in a panic, afraid that somehow it's true. The rational part of me knows that the necklace has to be somewhere in their house, it has to have been misplaced or overlooked, but with each passing day, it seems less and less likely that it'll be found. At this point, I don't even care about proving my innocence anymore. I just want this nightmare to be over. I want my family back, I want to be able to hug my dad without feeling like he's wondering if I'm a liar. I want to be able to go to family dinners without feeling like a pariah. But I also know that I can't just give in and say I did it when I didn't. That would be betraying myself and everything my parents taught me about honesty. So now I'm turning to you, Reddit. Should I have done something differently? Is there anything I can do to fix the situation? I feel lost and alone and could really use some outside perspective. Update. Hey everyone, I'm back with an update on the situation with my stepmom and the missing diamond necklace. A lot has happened and I'm still processing everything, but I wanted to share what went down. It had been about 3 weeks since my last post. Things hadn't gotten any better. Sarah was still accusing me of stealing her necklace, and my relationship with my dad was strained. I had stopped going to their house altogether, which hurt because I used to spend a lot of time there. The breakthrough came completely by accident. I was at the local shopping center, just trying to distract myself with some window shopping. As I was walking past a coffee shop, I saw a familiar face through the window. It was Sarah. At first, I thought about just walking away. I didn't want another confrontation, but then I noticed she was sitting with a man I didn't recognize. They seemed to be having an intense conversation. I know it wasn't right, but I couldn't help myself. I found a spot where I could see them without being obvious and watched. Sarah looked nervous, kept glancing around like she was afraid of being seen. Then to my shock, I saw Sarah reach into her purse and pull out a small black velvet box. My heart started racing. It looked exactly like the box my dad had given her the necklace in. Sarah handed the box to the man, he opened it, looked inside, then closed it quickly and put it in his pocket. They talked for a few more minutes, then the man got up and left. I was shaking, I couldn't believe what I had just seen. Without thinking, I had taken a few pictures with my phone. They weren't great quality, but you could clearly see Sarah and the man, and Sarah handing over the box. I didn't confront Sarah, I was too scared and confused. Instead, I called my dad. My voice was shaking as I asked him to meet me outside the shopping center. He must have heard the urgency in my voice because he agreed immediately. When my dad arrived, I was a mess. I was crying and shaking. He looked really worried and asked me what was wrong. I took a deep breath and told him everything I had seen. At first, he looked confused, then angry, then just sad. He asked to see the pictures I had taken. As he looked at them, his face got redder and redder. He asked me if I was absolutely sure about what I had seen. I told him I was. The box looked exactly like the one the necklace came in, and Sarah had been acting so suspiciously. My dad was quiet for a long moment, then he said we needed to go home and talk to Sarah. I was scared, but I agreed. We drove to their house in silence. When we got there, Sarah was already home. She looked surprised to see us both, especially me. She started to say something about me not being welcome, but my dad cut her off. He asked her very calmly where she had been that afternoon. Sarah said she had been running errands. My dad nodded and then asked her if she had met anyone while she was out. Sarah hesitated for a second before saying no. That's when my dad brought out his phone and showed her the pictures I had taken. The color drained from Sarah's face. What followed was the most intense conversation I've ever been part of. My dad asked Sarah over and over to explain what was in the pictures. Sarah tried to deflect, saying I must have photoshopped them or that it wasn't what it looked like, but my dad wasn't having it. He kept pushing, asking who the man was, what was in the box, why she had lied about meeting someone. With each question, Sarah got more and more flustered. Finally, after what felt like hours but was probably only about 30 minutes, Sarah broke down. She started crying and admitted everything. The necklace had never been stolen. The day after her birthday, she had taken it to a friend's house for safekeeping. The man in the coffee shop was this friend, and she had been picking up the necklace from him. When my dad asked why she had done this, Sarah's answer made me feel sick. She said she had never liked me coming to their house, she felt like I was intruding on her time with my dad. She thought if she accused me of stealing something valuable, my dad would stop inviting me over so much. She said she had planned to find the necklace in a few weeks and claim it must have been misplaced. She never expected things to go this far or for my dad to get so upset. My dad was furious. I had never seen him so angry. He told Sarah that what she had done was inexcusable. He said she had not only hurt me but had made him doubt his own daughter. Sarah tried to apologize to me, but I couldn't even look at her. I was so hurt and angry, all the stress and pain of the last few weeks came rushing back, and I started crying again. My dad told Sarah to go and get the necklace from her friend immediately. She left, still crying. While she was gone, my dad hugged me and apologized over and over for not believing me completely. He said he should have trusted me and that he had let me down. When Sarah came back with the necklace, my dad took it from her and put it in his pocket. He told her that her behavior was unacceptable and that he needed time to think about their relationship. He then turned to me and said I could come and stay at the house whenever I wanted for as long as I wanted, but I was too hurt. I told him I needed some time and space. I left their house feeling a mix of emotions. I was relieved that the truth had finally come out, but I was also deeply hurt. The fact that Sarah had deliberately tried to drive a wedge between me and my dad was hard to process. Over the next few days, I got a lot of calls and messages. My dad called multiple times to check on me and to apologize again. He told me that he and Sarah were going to start couples counseling, but he understood if I didn't want to be around her for a while. Sarah tried to call and message me too, but I wasn't ready to talk to her. Her messages were full of apologies and explanations, but they all felt hollow to me. My mom was furious when I told her what had happened. She wanted to confront Sarah herself, but I asked her not to. I didn't want to create more drama. As for me, I'm still trying to figure out how I feel about everything. I'm relieved that I've been proven innocent, but the whole experience has left me feeling betrayed and hurt. I used to split my time between my mom's house and my dad's, but for now, I'm staying with my mom full-time. My dad says I'm welcome anytime, but the thought of being in that house around Sarah makes me uncomfortable. I'm angry at Sarah, of course. What she did was cruel and manipulative, but I'm also angry at my dad for not believing me completely from the start. I know he was in a difficult position, but I'm his daughter. I feel like he should have trusted me more. I'm also struggling with feelings of guilt. Even though I know I didn't do anything wrong, part of me feels like I'm responsible for the problems in my dad's marriage. I know that's not rational, but it's hard to shake. My friends have been really supportive. They've been helping me process everything and reminding me that none of this was my fault. I'm grateful for them. I've been thinking a lot about trust and family. This whole experience has made me realize how fragile trust can be and how important it is in relationships. I'm not sure if I'll ever be able to trust Sarah again, and my trust in my dad has been shaken too. My dad has suggested family therapy for all of us, but I'm not sure if I'm ready for that yet. I think I need more time to process everything on my own first. I've also been dealing with some anxiety since all this happened. I find myself doubting my own memory sometimes or worrying that people don't believe me about other things. I'm thinking about starting individual therapy to help deal with these feelings. As for the future, I'm not sure what it holds. My dad says he wants to work things out with Sarah, but he also says that his relationship with me is a priority. I don't want to make him choose, but I also don't know if I can have a relationship with him if Sarah is still in the picture. For now, I'm focusing on myself. I'm throwing myself into my studies and spending time with friends who I know I can trust. I'm trying to rebuild my self-confidence and remember that I'm not the person Sarah tried to paint me as. I'm also learning to stand up for myself more. This experience has taught me that it's important to defend yourself when you know you're right, even if it's uncomfortable or difficult. I've had a few people suggest that I should press charges against Sarah for false accusation, but I don't think I want to go down that road. As hurt as I am, I don't think involving the legal system would make me feel any better. My dad has been asking when I'll come back to stay at the house, but I'm not ready yet. I've told him I need more time and space. He seems to understand, but I can tell he's hurt too. I'm also dealing with the reactions of extended family and family friends. Word has gotten out about what really happened, and I'm getting a lot of messages of support, but it's also embarrassing to know that so many people know about this personal drama. In a way, I feel like I've lost my second home. I used to love spending time at my dad's house, but now the thought of being there just makes me anxious. I'm mourning that loss, even as I'm angry about the situation that caused it. I'm trying to focus on the positives. The truth came out, I was vindicated, and I learned some important lessons about standing up for myself, but it's hard not to dwell on the negatives too. I'm not sure what the long-term effects of all this will be on my relationship with my dad. I love him and I know he loves me, but this has definitely created a rift between us. I hope we can repair it over time. As for Sarah, I honestly don't know if I'll ever be able to forgive her. What she did wasn't just a mistake or a misunderstanding, it was a deliberate attempt to hurt me and damage my relationship with my dad. That's not something I can easily get past. So that's where things stand now. The necklace has been found, the truth has come out, but the fallout is still ongoing. I'm taking things one day at a time and trying to focus on healing. Thank you to everyone who supported me in my original post. Your kind words and advice meant a lot to me during a really difficult time. I'll post another update if anything significant changes.